Hello, I'm Denis Do, the director of Funan. I'm very pleased that the film will be screened in the Refugee Week. The film is inspired by the testimonies of my mom. She starts to share everything with me during my childhood. I was maybe fourth or fifth years old the first time she mentioned the Khmer Rouge to me. It was during maybe yeah, when I was 4 or 5, so I was not able to finish my dish, and she told me, in order to convince me to finish it, that during the Khmer Rouge regime, many people died of starvation. So as a child, I start to have a lot of imagination in my mind, and the Khmer Rouge quickly became some things like a dark fantasy in my mind also. And then I grew up with that. And we went in Cambodia in 1997, the whole family. And I remember it was during the first week of July. I was with my little brother. We played in our hotel room, and we heard some big explosion outside. I quickly told my little brother that Pol Pot is coming back, and we start to play again and again. But the next day, very early in the morning at 4, we escaped to Vietnam, and insist on this word escaping, because it was not a part of the planning of our family trip. And I heard my mom inside the car. She said something like, "I don't want my sons to face the same thing as me before." And when we came back to France later, I just grabbed a lot of newspaper and made some research, and I understood that there was a coup d'état, and the actual prime minister seized power at that time. So the streets were surrounded by soldiers, and yeah, stuff like that. And obviously, it reminds my mother the darkest time of her life. And I also try to find more stuff about Cambodia. And first I wanted to know about yeah, the country itself. And very quickly, when you start to make research about Cambodia, you meet the Khmer Rouge regime. And my fantasy about the Khmer Rouge stopped at that moment, and I was faced to the reality. And I understood that so much people uh, were affected, impacted by the Khmer Rouge regime. And I told myself that one day maybe I should do some things such as writing a novel or a graphic novels, as I drew when I was a child, since I was a child. And well, after my graduation in animation school, I decided to develop a feature film, and Funan was born like that. It was in 2009, and at the beginning, I was really naive, and I think you need some kind of, yeah, you need to believe a lot of things in order to be able to start some things, and to dive inside some things you don't really know. Otherwise, you are always afraid about unknown facts or stuff, mysterious stuff, and you are not able to move at all. And then I asked Magali Puzolt and Michael Cruza to help me to develop the film. Magali as my co-screenwriters, and as she's a female, it was quite relevant because the main character of the film is a female, and I needed yeah, female point of view. And Mikhail was my classmate in our animation school, and I needed I mean, the best graphic and art skill at my scale for this film. So that's why I asked him to join. And then we went to Cambodia, and yeah, we spent almost 6 years to 6, 7 years to develop, to write, to push forward, and the production really starts in 2016, and it took 2 years to finish the film, and at all it took us 9 years. So it was quite a long adventure. They were really involved at the beginning of the process when I tried to collect back the testimonies, because I think my mom already told me about so much things, but I wanted just to make sure to make another list, to make yeah, to make a list, because you know, when she talked to me, I just heard, and I never wrote anything. So that time, at the moment I decided to make a film, I grab a pen and a book, and I start to make a list. But very quickly it appears that what she said doesn't really follow the historical line. So I needed to meet other people in order to put everything at the good steps, at the good moments, at the good order. And it's normal because there are so many decades uh, already passed, and my mom is quite old, so it's normal that she only speaks about things she's most linked in terms of emotion first. And my brother, he was also involved, but as my point of view, the point of view of the film, I really wanted to to feel the film through this mom, this female character. I mean, I put a bit more back in the background the testimonies of my big brother, and also I was aware that sometimes, such as a lot of big brother, he who wants to impress their little brother, he might narrate a bit more his own story. So I needed to be very aware of that. This decision was made from me very in the very early process, because I thought, and I still think that it is much more than relevant to involve people who are concerned about the story you want to depict. Um, and also, it's important, and maybe it's much more important in animation, because in animation, technically, you can represent what you want. You can appropriate yourself the story of someone else, of some other people. And I think it's especially in animation, people has to be aware about that, because animation has the is a potential open door for, I mean, colonial appropriation. So it's definitely not the case of Funan, I guess, because I link with the subject the film is depicting, and it's not that we make the effort. It was one of the first intention of us to involve Cambodian artists. I was at the beginning quite afraid that and there was not really animation industries in Cambodia. But at least thanks to a friend of mine, we reached a studio, and we reached many artists, and we spent a few months to taught them the basics of animation, and they were ready to be involved on the film. And this is something I will reproduce, because as I said, since tell the story, a story which is connected to a culture, to people, to some people. It is normal to involve those people. For example, you cannot tell the story as a man, you cannot easily tell the story of a woman without involving woman. So it's the same for that. You cannot tell the stories of some ethnicities without involving people from these ethnicities. And I'm not talking about actors or actress only or animators only. I'm talking about involving people at the core of the creation, such as directing itself or at least screenwriting. And otherwise, it sounds a bit, yeah, appropriation of the cultures of other people. Sounds like that for me. In terms of process, I think uh, first of all, we collect all the testimonies as we can. And I also ask for stuff from people who were with my mom during her life under the camps here and also in Cambodia. And so we went to Cambodia with my, my friends, my co-authors, during the early process to find pictures, to find videos. And we knew that it was from propaganda, but we also collect pictures from books which depicts how the farmers work. Uh, we visited the museum to see how people wore the black suits during the Khmer Rouge regimes. And yeah, we also pay very attention to testimonies, oral testimonies from what my mom said, from what I was able to read from a lot of autobiographical novel. And we rebuilt everything from yeah, photography, and we drew back everything. And that's why I said that animation drawing is so much there is a lot of responsibility through drawings, because you can draw everything, you can reproduce, you can make people believe everything about how life was, stuff like that. And we made some mistakes. I heard that we made some mistakes about how we depict a train station, the number of railroad, but it was really, we didn't find enough information about that when we were in Cambodia. So it's like that, and we need to assume it right now. Um, and well, so as I was not in, I didn't leave the Khmer Rouge regime. Sometimes I have met some people who also asked me if I feel that I have the rights to make such a film. Um, I think that the older generations, such as Ritipan, the things they have done, they share to us, uh, necessarily incite us to create also. Because if we cannot reappropriate ourselves uh, those stories, those testimonies, I mean, some things will be disconnected, some things, the link will be broken. And our generation, we will be the next older generation. So we need to have some things to share also. We need to have some things we need to left some things for the next generation also. How much liberty you allowed yourself? Did animation give you more freedom in the process? I allowed myself a lot of liberty, but maybe we can mention one thing I didn't want to go against, to play too much with. It's all about the depiction of violence. I was afraid that I was afraid to depict too much, to describe too much the creativity of the Khmer Rouge to, I mean, how they murder people, how they molested people, and they really had a lot of creativity. And to through the eyes of people who doesn't know enough about the Khmer Rouge regime, or who made the choice to see the Khmer Rouge regime only through the violence. I mean, those this kind of depictions um, could be too exotic. And to me, it's not relevant to make a film. It was not relevant for Funan, I think, to be a film about to stick around such topic. I mean, the violence is not the topics of Funan. This is not a thematic. This is just a fact. And if it's just a fact, you don't need to show it. You just need to let people know that it happens, and that's all. And it is something's really impressive. I mean, the creativity of the Khmer Rouge. I mean, if you start to put picture on how the Khmer Rouge uh, do their stuff, it will mark so much the audience that people after the screening they will talk about that instead of talking about the thematic you wanted to explore in your film. And well, I wanted to avoid that. I think it was a good choice, but I know that some people are not agree with that, and they wanted to. We can say it like that. They wanted more violence in the film. So did animation give you more freedom in the process? Yeah, but we, as animation directors, animation authors, I say it again, we need to be very careful because as animation, as drawings allows you to represent everything, we have to think about the fact: do we have the rights to represent everything for other people? And it's really important because never mind if people draw can represent very well or not, but do we have the rights to represent for other people, to depict the story of other people at the place of those people? And I think animation is yeah, we have to be careful with animation because we can do everything. And well, in terms of possibilities, the more you have budget, the more you are able to do incredible stuff, to hire incredible artists, stuff like that, of course. And but I think I had a teacher before. He said that no constraint, no creation. So I really believe it's a very relevant sentences because very relevant quotes because without barriers, you cannot think about how to break the barriers. So we need constraint, and low budget is a big constraint for big ideas. Well, yeah, we can say that this film is a way to find answers to my origin, but especially the earlier process because during the production is we only produce at that moment. But during the early process, when I collect testimonies, I heard people share their stories. When I read a lot of books, a lot of things. When we made research, when we went to Cambodia, also, of course, it's a relevant part to connect with my origins. But yeah, it's but talking about origin, my origins is really complicated because I'm not only my origins are not only from Cambodia, and technically I really know my origins already, but there is a big difference between knowing your origins and understanding it. You always have a kind, I always have a kind of disconnection, for example, through the language. When you don't speak very enough the language of your origins, when you don't speak it very well, you feel disconnected. You can know the history of the your for in my case of Cambodia, you can know the actuality in terms of politics, stuff like that. You still feel disconnected because, and at least we are disconnected because people from my generation, we are outside of Cambodia. We are living a kind of perspective of Cambodia. We are not living the actual, the current Cambodia. The society of Cambodia is what it is now, and we are outside of it. And we are linked with the current Cambodia through the past. And through the past, we are trying to reach the present. And in that perspective, I think it's really interesting. And so, maybe to find answers to your own exile, as your life in France would maybe not have existed without the coup d'etat. My life in France, for sure, won't have exist without the coup d'etat, but my life, at least, won't exist at all without the coup d'etat because my parents, they had met in France. They didn't know each other in Cambodia before. And well, it's not easy to answer these questions because as I was born in France, as I'm French, I don't know how I can consider myself through the perspective to be someone exiled or yeah, I don't know. I, I think I will need to describe what is today's perspective, and I don't know if I will be able to describe it. Um, I might say some generalities, but in my mind, through my eyes, I used to think that, and this is what you said, even in the 70s and even now, uh, I mean, a lot of things are still the same because I don't know if human change. It is all about political stuff, social, uh, social, yeah, events, and I think it's the same all the time. It happens all the time, everywhere, in different contexts, different cultures, but the consequences are always the same, with a lot of impacts on social, on families, traumatism through generations, and so much loss also. So maybe it's through this maybe unique perspective I've made this film. Because I'm really honest when I tell you that I don't know how to describe the today's perspective. Um, I mean, in terms of structure, something happen, then people leave their countries. I mean, this structure is always the same. No one chooses to live without troubles, at least, because it's hard to live somewhere you grew up. It's hard to live the people you love. This no one choose to live. Uh, no one enjoy to live. It's really the last choice all the time, and I think it happens all the time, and it will keep happen in the future. It's just about when we depict story like that, I think the most important is to keep thinking about the human scale, to keep thinking about the human relationship. When you leave people inside yourself without knowing it, maybe knowing it very strongly, without being aware about it. When you live a lot of things, you expect to meet other things, other people. We don't quit the loved ones. The We don't quit everything in order to reach emptiness. Try to have better, and I think we can call it kind of hopes. We live because we expect, and it totally reached the film and the structure of Funan. This is the mind of the characters at the end of the film because they already left everything. They don't really expect anymore to being able or not to build something new or not in their original countries. They want to flee, to escape to some things new, to start again some things maybe from with better basis. And yeah, and sorry to not being able to describe the today's perspective. Oh, I love live action cinemas, especially the a lot of Asian films, especially Chinese film directors such as Zhang Yimou, Chen Kaike, and also Taiwanese directors like Hou Xiaoxian, Li Ang. I really loved Wong Kar-wai also. Really love his films. I don't know how I could say that all those directors' works has inspired my Funan or not. Maybe it's not. I'm not aware about it. I really love the Cambodian film director called Devi Shu. He made a film called Diamond Island a few years ago, and he invited me to watch his film during the screening in Paris, and I was so. I mean, his film slapped my face because after the screening, I was aware of something very important. Is that uh, I mean, the next generation abroad, not in Cambodia, in our every time we try to connect back to link back with the our Cambodian roots and the current Cambodia. So most of the time we depict the Cambodia through the Khmer Rouge regime, and we are not alone. I mean, the Western media, the Western in Western medias, yeah, in TV or cinema, most of the time when it depicts Cambodia, it also depicts it through the Khmer Rouge perspective, and for for several maybe yeah for a lot of times now, and especially after the screening of Diamond Island, it appears to me that well, it's enough. It's enough. Of course, it's important to talk about, to share things about the Khmer Rouge in order to keep transmitting the memories. But we should not deny the importance to live under the current time and to be aware about how Cambodia is today. And it's also important to depict the current Cambodian society. And I really love the works of David Shu, and some way I can say that he inspired me a lot. In terms of animation, uh, I really love the works of Isao Takahata. I don't mention this huge director and only for The Grave of the Fireflies, but my favorite animation is My Neighbors, the Yamada. It's really by far my best animation, to me, the best animation film. I really love the rhythm, the sense of humor, the drama, everything inside it. And I missed the chance, but I really wanted the film. I really wanted to show him uh, Funan, and so I missed the chance. Just want you to know, all of you to know that we and all the teams behind the production of the film, I mean the artistic team, the production team, we all felt a lot of emotion, a lot of also maybe the kind of importance of such film, and it's still important for us that people uh, watch it, see it in theater. And so thank you for being here this evening or this afternoon, I don't know, for the screening. And yeah, I hope you will enjoy the time and well, the film. Thank you.